All right. Let's get the show on the road. Well, thank you so much for joining us today for this session on how to win private clients. It's been really exciting to see how many of you have taken an interest in this subject. At last count, it was over 460 people signing up for this, which I think makes it the most popular Home Care Association webinar so far. So we really hope we do it justice today. So without further ado, let's introduce ourselves. So my name's Hannah. I'm the head of marketing here at Birdie, and I'm going to be guiding today's discussion. With me, I'm joined by two of my expert colleagues who are going to be doing most of the talking today. So I will let them introduce themselves, starting with Danielle. Over to you.
Thanks, Hannah. Hi, everyone. Lovely to get to present to you today. So I'm Danielle. By the jumper, I obviously work for Birdie. I joined Birdie in January. Previously, I'd worked in the care sector for around 9 years with quite a large private pay franchisor. I had the opportunity and the pleasure actually to run my own branch. And we were mostly private in terms of our client setup. During that time, I also used Birdie as our software, which kind of led me to meet all the people at Birdie and really see what they're doing from a tech perspective, which I felt was really, really special. So yeah, that is a little bit about me. Over to you, Liv.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Olivia. I'm one of the senior customer success managers here at Birdie. I've been here just over 2 years now. My anniversary was in April. My passion is really helping care agencies evidence high quality care through their digital solution and really empowering and improving the lives of the service users in your agencies. I've helped many Birdie partners improve their CQC ratings and also grow. So hopefully that's something that we'll be able to do for you as well.
Amazing. Thank you both so much for joining us today and really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. So, here's what we're going to be covering. So, and over the course of the next 60 minutes or so, we're going to go through 4 very juicy topics. First of all, we're going to be talking about why private clients are so important in today's climate, but also what they expect. And spoiler alert, is quite different to what is expected perhaps from public sector contracts. Then we're going to get to the real meat of the discussion, and I know what everyone has joined us for, which is how to get more of those private clients. But then we're also going to move on to something that might be overlooked, but is just as important, if not more so, which is how to be ready to serve those private clients, how to meet those expectations. So not only can you get that extra client base, but you can serve it successfully. And if we have time, we will do as much as we can of Q&A as well. So quick housekeeping stuff. Like I said, webinar is going to be about 60 minutes. We are recording this session and we're going to share it with you afterwards. And that's going to come with a few extra bits and bobs as well. So this webinar session is based on a handbook that we wrote with a number of the clients that we work with. So we'll be sharing that with you. We'll also be sharing a link to our price benchmarking calculator. So if this is something that you decide that you want to throw yourselves into, that can be a really helpful tool to get you started. And last but not least, we will be sending you an invite to Flock, which I will tell you more about later. Very quickly, we do have a chat panel that you can hopefully see at the bottom of your screen. Please add any questions that you have throughout the session. You don't have to wait till the end, and we'll take as many as we can once we get to the end of the presentation. So before we dive into today's content, a very quick introduction, if you haven't met us before, of who's Birdie. So in a nutshell, we are home care technology that helps you work smarter, not just harder. And by that, I mean 3 things. First of all, it's all about getting everything and everyone working together through a platform that encompasses everything from care management to auditing to finance to rostering, not just working as one, but actually built as one in the first place. The second thing is being able to see everything and miss nothing. So we've got 50 reports across 3 dashboards, some of which you're going to see today, to make sure that you've got unparalleled oversight into what's really happening in your business. And the last part of this, which last but certainly not least, is never feeling alone again. We really take pride in the level of service and support that we give you, so that you can make sure that all of the technology that you're using, you are using to its fullest potential. So in a nutshell, what that is 5 products, it's 3 different apps, and Olivia will tell you more about those apps later on today, but 3 promises at the same time. And all of that is trusted by about 1,000 home care agencies across the UK and helping them to really achieve incredible things with their businesses. So that's the intro. That's us. Let's get into it. And I think we are first going to hand over to Danielle to talk a little bit about why private clients matter in the first place. Danielle, over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is a bit that we've all come here for today, I'm sure. So let's talk about why focusing on private clients is becoming increasingly crucial in today's care landscape. So if we think about today's care landscape, and this won't be something that's unknown to a lot of you that are here on the call today, the current situation in the care sector presents some significant challenges. We're seeing rising operational costs across the board, yet local authorities don't seem to be increasing their rates at the same pace. According to the Home Care Association, the minimum viable hourly rate for sustainable care is now £32.14. Yet the average local authority rates range from anything from £16.86 to £21.53, depending on your region. So that financial gap has huge consequences. The data shows that 63% of providers are now starting to hand back contracts due to the financial unsustainability of them. Many local authority contracts are now operating at a loss or with such minimal margins that it means that it doesn't support any business growth. Even more concerningly, we've seen that 22% of home care businesses are planning to close in 2025 because they simply cannot make those numbers work. This is why, more now than ever, why private client offering is compelling. So let's have a little look at a financial case around that. So I've just touched on the rates and what the margins can look like from a private client perspective, but let's put some real figures into there. So the private client hourly rate can typically range from £25 to £38, which, if you remember, and we compare them to those local authority rates of £16 to £21, that is a huge gap in what you can charge out for that hour of care. This translates then to an average profit margin of 15 to 25% for private clients versus just a 3 to 8% for local authority contracts. So again, we're seeing huge gaps in these profit margins and pricing structures. Beyond rates, because we know it's not always just about that, you can gain better control over pricing and your service definitions, which allow you to be much more flexible in adapting to changes to cost, the cost of living, rising increases around national insurance, because the ball is in your court and you have control over your business and what it is that you're able to charge out for the care that you're delivering. And lastly, there's also been seen that there is significant lower administrative burden and fewer reporting requirements. We know how complex the local authority can make it to be able to invoice and also evidence that care to them. So by moving to a more private pay model, it means that, again, you're in more control of that admin amount, and it takes much less to be able to generate an invoice that you've designed to send to your private clients. So if we just move on now to the business case for kind of going private, and if we look at a couple of factors here. So the business case extends beyond just financial benefits. And if we focus on private clients, it reduces your reliance on one single revenue source. So if all your eggs is in one basket with a local authority, and actually the local authority deem that they could get that care, let's face it, cheaper somewhere else, there's a likelihood that they're going to pull those contracts from you. And if you're heavily reliant on that as a single revenue source, there's the risk of you falling into that 22% category where there's business closures taking place right now. Also, it protects you against local authority changes and payments delay. We've talked about how complex it is to invoicing, then that comes along with huge payment delays as well. You've got staff to pay, you've got outgoings, and you need to have your money that you've earned and deserve within a timely manner. So having a private client base creates more financial stability and a really stable cash flow. It allows for strategic growth decisions rather than reactive ones, because you'll have a steady stream of clients coming through from the private side rather than being handed or having taken away large, complex, potentially packages from the local authority. And you can build long-term business value and sustainability. So I just want to emphasize the point that I'm trying to get across here, that shifting towards a more balanced client mix. I am not telling you that you should not be taking local authority packages. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you need to look at a balanced client mix that includes private clients and isn't about short-term profitability. It's about creating a sustainable future for your care business today.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Well, I feel like the case is very, very clear now for why we're doing what we're doing today. But I actually want to, very quickly, ask everyone who's joined us. So hopefully there should be a poll appearing somewhere in this meeting. There we go. So the question is, what is your biggest reason for looking into a private client base? There's a number of different options for you there, but I would love to get your answer. So I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds there to tell us what you think. Is it about having more control? Is it about being able to deliver a better service? Is it just a lack of different local authority packages that are available right now? Or are they just not quite the right fit for your business? Really, let's have a look. We've got loads of people answering. Thank you for your contributions. We've got over nearly 200 people that have joined us today, which is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for making the time. And over 120 of you that have given the answers. So there seem to be two things really in the lead here that are emerging. First of all, there being not enough local authority packages to go round, which makes absolute sense, given everything that we know about the number of different agencies now that exist that are being given smaller packages. It's really, really difficult to build that kind of sustainable business out of these smaller packages. And then actually neck and neck with that is wanting to control your own rates and services. So going back to the point that Danielle's been making about the cost of delivering care, I can imagine that it's very difficult to be able to deliver the kind of care that you want to and that you feel proud and confident about within the kind of rates that local authorities are giving you. So thank you so much for all of those responses. Really great to hear from you all. With that, we are going to move on to our next section, which is handing over to Olivia now to talk about what private clients expect.
Thank you, Hannah, and thank you, Danielle. So now that we've talked why private clients matter, let's look at what they actually expect from your service. It's often quite different from what local authorities might expect, so it's important to understand those differences. First off, private clients see themselves as customers, not just service users. Think of it like when you're booking a holiday on TripAdvisor or hunting for the best insurance deal on Compare the Market. They're comparison shopping, weighing options and expecting real value for their money. More people are now self-funding their care, so they want to know exactly what they're paying for upfront. It's like reading the reviews before you commit. Care isn't just about doing the basics well anymore, it's about the whole experience feeling right. It's what we call the experience economy, where it's about selling a feeling or a peace of mind, not just a service. We're also seeing what I call the client as care manager mindset. So many private clients and their families, they want to say in things like staff rotas and care planning, almost like they want to help run the service. So they expect more communication, more involvement, and often come in a little bit skeptical, not fully trusting from the start. And that skepticism often comes from past negative experiences with the NHS or with other social services. So private clients start out on high alert, wanting reassurance and clear proof of quality before they commit. So how do we meet these higher expectations? Let's explore that next. Okay, so let's talk about what private clients really expect in terms of service quality. And it's more than just showing up on time. They really do have higher expectations. Firstly, reliability. That means consistently delivering on your promises. It's not enough to just turn up. Clients want to know you'll be there and you'll do what you said you would do every single time. And that leads on to consistency. Consistency is key too. Private clients want regular carers, familiar faces who know their routines and preferences, for example, how they like their tea. Mine's milk and 2 sugars. And having someone who remembers that makes all the difference. They also appreciate flexible scheduling and visit lengths that fit their unique needs. It's not just a one-size-fits-all approach. And responsiveness matters a lot. Quick replies to questions or concerns, and ideally 24/7 availability for urgent issues. When something's on your mind, you don't want to wait until the office hours to get an answer. And then not just responsiveness, but also proactive communication is huge. You don't want to wait for the family or the client to have to ask for updates. By keeping them in the loop regularly, even when everything's running smoothly, they're really going to have that peace of mind. Remember, you're supporting not just the client, but the whole family, the loved ones, and providing that peace of mind. So tools like our family app, which we'll talk about later, help make this easier, putting information at everyone's fingertips. And then there's personalisation. Everything needs to be tailored to the individual, from care plans to daily routines, even the little details, like we said, how someone makes their tea can make a big, big difference. Private clients also value when agencies can coordinate with other social services, GPs, physiotherapists, or mental health teams to truly give them a joined up support team. But here's the thing. None of the premium service works without happy and well-supported staff. So if your carers are rushed, burnt out, or inconsistent, the whole premium experiences falls apart. So the best private care comes from those people who are invested in their people and not just their systems.
Thank you, Olivia. Okay, so I think we're establishing that the bar is high. We'll come back to you later on in order to understand how we can make sure that we meet that bar. So next, how to get those private clients. So Danielle, we're going to come back to you to learn more.
Sure. Okay. So now that we understand why private clients matter and what they expect from us as a service, let's discuss what specific strategies you can put in place to actually start attracting more private clients into your care business. So, step one is around defining your unique selling point. So, you really want to clearly define what makes your care service special. And to do that, you can start by doing these next couple of things. You want to identify what your strengths and also what your weaknesses are compared to your local competitors. As we've spoke about, like there obviously is a cost of living crisis that's going on. You have some direct competitors out there. So make sure you take that time and highlight what it is that you do differently from them. What is your unique selling point? You can understand, or you need to take some time to understand what your specific client needs or demographics are that you serve best. For example, dementia care. That could be something that you specialize in that you want to offer out on a private basis. You want to create a clear and compelling message that targets these clients, but that also resonates with your whole team. So you could take that time and work with your team to really figure out what your clear and compelling message is to be able to go out and attract those clients. And you want to validate your USP through the people that matter the most, and that's your clients. You want to capture that direct client feedback that you spend, all the time capturing, ready for a CQC inspection. Weave that into your unique selling point and hear it directly from your clients that are receiving that care. Your USP might focus on specialized care services, your exceptional staff training, your technology innovations, or outstanding family engagement. Whatever it is that truly sets you apart in your local market is what your USP is. So step two is around creating an effective pricing structure. So we'll share around like a pricing calculator and model from the call today, but some things to kind of think about. That pricing is crucial for private clients. Increased costs are affecting everyone and people are shopping around. So it's really important that you develop an effective pricing structure. You can research local market rates to understand the competitive landscape, as well as ensuring that you don't under or overcharge so that you're way out of what would be kind of feasible in your local market. Be sure to calculate those true costs, including things like travel time, training, and administrative overheads that go into delivering that care, because it isn't just about paying for that hourly care that your carer is delivering. There's all those other true costs that come in with that as well. And then use these findings to create a minimum viable hourly rate with a healthy margin. And again, we've talked about really making sure that you're competitive in your landscape. And I know it might seem like an easy cash grab going ahead and looking for private clients, and it might solve your maybe financial worries. But actually, if you push too hard on your margin, that's going to pull you way out of the competitive landscape, and you're not going to be able to attract those clients. So consider offering tiered pricing for different services. You can think about more low touch services, which like companionship might be charged at a separate rate to personal care or complex. Think about what we talked about, those true costs like training and administrative time. When we think about personal care or complex care, that might factor in more there. So you might want to increase the prices for those services. And maybe just think about creating a really transparent pricing document that clearly explains your value proposition. So again, we talked about your USP, and if you want to look to increase your hourly rate for personal care, be really transparent with that. Let that client or their family know the training that is involved in that, how you upkeep that training with your carers, why they're offering such a premium service for you. And so then step 3 is a multi-channel marketing method. So we know that marketing is super, super important. When you're going out and attracting for new clients, they need to know who you are and how to find you. So you need to make sure that you've got your positioning and pricing already, and then let's start spreading the word. So you want to make sure that your website's optimized for easy contact, potentially booking consultations or calls with you directly, so you can be super responsive to that. You want to build a social media presence and really demonstrate that high quality care that you're delivering out in the community today. Don't forget to include traditional methods, things like papers, magazines. We might often forget about those things, but actually let's tap into our older demographic, those private clients that we're trying to source. They will be looking at things like papers and magazines. That's not a lost media on them. So you want to build a community presence through events and partnerships, and we'll talk a little bit more about referral partners later on. You can do some direct mail targeting, going around certain neighborhoods when you know there's large pockets of private clients. You could do leaflet drops and just do some targeted research around those areas. And then a big thing is that you want to make sure from all of those channels of media that you're tracking where these these clients are coming from and these leads, because you want to see what you want to put more money into. If you push loads of money into doing a social media campaign and actually it's resulted in very minimal clients, that potentially isn't something that you want to continue to do. So you really want to make sure that you document what is working for you so you can keep building on that as you go. So then step 4 is something that I just kind of alluded to, and that's around mapping for a referral network. There's nothing better than a really strong referral network that you've fostered trust with, that directly refers your services out to people that they meet in the community. So referrals are your most powerful source of new clients, and we want to be able to map out potential referral partners. They are people like healthcare professionals, including GPs. They might say that they can't directly refer, but actually, if you make a good impression, that usually in some circumstances, they will refer to a really good care provider. And then you've also got people like discharge teams and therapists. Go out and figure out who works in your local hospital, who are those NHS individuals that you want to go and kind of give a compelling message to. Then you've got legal professionals, maybe particularly solicitors that are dealing with wills and estates, financial advisors, retirement planners, wealth managers. Like, we're seeing a theme of the type of referral partners here that we're targeting, right? And then let's not forget some of the kind of the lower end of a referral partner, probably the people that you wouldn't spend too much time and effort with, but you still want to create a presence. And they'd be like community-led organizations, so faith groups, senior centers, and then maybe service providers such as cleaners and meal services. Whilst we are talking about private clients here, those last ones, cleaners, meal services, are also really good referrals for carers. So, it's a double-edged sword really around speaking to referral partners. So don't overlook partners who technically aren't meant to refer to you, as I just mentioned about the GP. If you are offering an excellent service, they likely will. And look at your local area strategically. For example, look at your hospital board minutes. By looking at those, they're online, they're very public. You can see the names of all of those key referral partners that work in that local hospital. You'll have their name. Go and find out where they're working. Go and speak to them, take some leaflets or some marketing collateral with you, and really kind of sell your services there. And then the last couple of things is around building that. So we've identified who is a referral partner. Now let's think about how to build that referral network. So go away today, and if this is something that you are serious in doing, research your local area and assign the likelihood of them providing a quality referral to you before you contact them, and really map that out before taking that time. Create that clear value proposition as to why they should refer to you, and then make sure you build that relationship first. We all know how we feel about cold calling. When someone calls up and they want to sell us something, the answer is usually no straight away. But actually, if they started that call with a clear value proposition of why this is going to resonate with you, actually the clear, amazing service that you're providing, then that creates a relationship, and then you're able to really build on that as you go. You can personalize the outreach accordingly. So don't have like a cookie cutter approach. Don't even know why I tried to say that. When it comes to referral partners, a solicitor is likely very different to somebody in a GP practice. So really have a personalized approach when you are speaking to these different individuals. Make sure you've got really professional materials and resources that you can share with them. And then I really do suggest like low commitment next steps. I don't want you out of your business every day trying to drive this. You need to be building something that's sustainable so you can still go out and build your business as well as sustaining the day-to-day and the operations that you currently run. And another clever technique that I have used before is the use of cliffhangers at the end of your pitch. Tease the next visit and start each visit by recapping the last conversation so they remember why you're there, what you last spoke about, and it really creates continuity and shows that you're also paying attention. And then the last bit is step 6, which is around nurturing your referral network. I talked about it not being kind of too time consuming for you. So once you've established your referral network, it will need ongoing attention. That looks like maintaining regular communication without overwhelming them. We don't want to be contacting them too regularly where they feel like we're being a bit full on with that. I think a frequency of 6 to 8 weeks really keeps you at the top of mind for people. Provide feedback on referral outcomes so that partners know when they have referred, it's been valued. I know one that, like, when I've referred before, somebody's kind of, I've managed to deliver on a package someone's referred to, we've took really low costs, like a little present, maybe some biscuits the next time we've gone to see them. A GP practice has referred to us, so we took some flowers for the practice. So just really low cost things that show how much you value them referring that private client onto you. And then you want to, that just shows real genuine appreciation for that. So just remember, building a strong referral network, it does take time. you might go away and feel a bit disheartened because it could take a good couple of weeks before you start seeing the impact of this. But the highest quality leads will be delivered to you from your referral partners, and they'll have the best conversion rates. So really foster trust and nurture this referral network that you're going to go out and build.
Thank you, Danielle. So we've learned so much about referral networks there, and Danielle's expertise in this goes on for ages. So if anyone is really interested in this subject, I would really urge you to download the ebook that we'll send along afterwards, because it goes into this topic in even more detail, really drawing upon all of the work that Danielle has done in the past. I would highly recommend. So before we move on to our last section, it's time for one last little poll. So we've heard a lot about lots of different business development techniques. I want to know what you're using right now. So what kind of marketing channels at the moment are you using to try and grow your private client base? Hopefully you can see the poll there with lots of options on the screen. Are you working on website? Are you doing social media? Is TikTok part of this for you? Or are we going a little bit more old school? Are we doing leaflets, local news, events? Or are you, as suggested by Danielle, really building up your referral partner network? Please add in your answers. I can see that nearly 100 of you have done so far. Thank you very much for sharing. A lot of people doing social media. It's great to see. Are we Instagram? Are we Facebook? Put any answers in the chat. Would love to know. Or are we actually doing TikTok? I was joking, but maybe this is serious. Fantastic. Nearly 150 answers. So what are we seeing here? We're seeing that loads of you are working on your website, which is great. Speaking as a marketer myself, this is obviously foundational. So whatever channels you are using in order to try and spread the word, it's really important that you've got somewhere to turn that attention to that is going to make sure that it converts. So having your value proposition on there, even having that transparent pricing on there, as well as a really clear and easy means to actually contact you is critical. If that's not in shape, then everything else that you do in order to get people there won't really be worthwhile. Second in our list here, social media. Great to see. Alongside, not that far behind, leaflets and flyering. So I can imagine that converges a little bit with all of that referral partner network that's there. But it looks like 42% of you are working on referral partnerships. So good stuff. All right, so let's move on to our last section for today. And so I'm going to hand back over to Olivia, who's going to talk about, now that we've accumulated this fantastic private client base, how we're going to make sure that we can serve them successfully. So Olivia, over to you.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So now we're attracting those private clients. We want to make sure that we are serving them with the best quality care possible, and also how we're going to be growing our operations without losing that personal touch as well. So one of the biggest mistakes we often see is waiting until things get overwhelming before putting solid processes in place. By then, stress is through the roof, you have a hard enough job anyway, staff start leaving, and the quality of care takes a hit. So instead, be proactive, build scalable processes early on. That means clear documentation of procedures and standards, strong supervision and quality control systems through staff training programs and feedback loops that drive continuous improvement. And an important supervision doesn't scale without structure. So a major risk is the registered manager becoming the bottleneck. If everything depends on one amazing person to keep things running, then your business is fragile. That's why clear delegation and well-trained senior carers are essential for creating that scalable support. And planning ahead is key. If you wait until you're busy to scale your processes, you're already playing catch up. So the most turnover and stress happens right when you're ready to start trying to grow. So having a strong system in place won't just keep you afloat, but it'll really help you enjoy that sustainable growth as well. And technology, it's a game changer, and that's what we do here at Birdie. So when it comes to scaling premium care services efficiently, at Birdie, we've built a platform specifically designed to support exactly that through 3 connected apps that work seamlessly together. So first, we have the Agency Hub. This gives managers full control with real-time oversight of planning, compliance, and reporting. It also helps spot and fix issues before they even become problems, keeping everything running really, really smoothly. Then there's the Carer app. This equips carers with the mobile tools that work even offline and use minimal data. It streamlines documentation and medication management, so carers know exactly what they need to be completing during every visit, so they can focus more on the actual delivery of the care and less on the paperwork. And then finally, we have the family app. This offers a really secure and transparent updates for family, friends, loved ones of your service users. They can see things like the general notes that the carer has left, the observations, what medication has been taken, and it really reduces the number of update calls from families and builds trust by keeping everybody in the loop. So big winner here, less admin time, fewer errors, and better coordination across the board. And let's just be clear as well, technology isn't about replacing people, it's about freeing them up to give more value elsewhere. If care managers can spend less time buried in the admin, then they have more time to coach their staff and improve the quality of care. And technology can be personal. When it's used right, tools like the personalised notes and sharing client moods or observations via the family app really creates those little moments of connection that really does mean a lot to families. And then we have data, probably one of my favorite bits. So data isn't just about ticking compliance boxes. It tells a story that can really help improve care outcomes. So with our platform, you get real-time data syncing across every part of your service. That means no delays and no gaps. As Hannah mentioned earlier, we offer over 50 pre-built reports covering everything from care quality to operations and finance. Plus, our 3 brand new Pulse dashboards give you a quick, at-a-glance insight so that you can keep your finger right on the pulse of your business. You can also export your data to stay on top of compliance and make sure that you're really ticking all of those boxes when it comes to your auditing. In terms of the Birdie Analytics data, I've helped lots of partners use this data to go from requires improvement to good, or just simply put strong success plans in place after maybe in some inspection warnings. So the insights from the data can be really, really rich and really help drive actionable changes within your agency. And the real value is also spotting those trends early. If you're consistently checking these reports and having a look at the insights, you're identifying patterns maybe in missed medications or visits that are too short, too long. We can help you with that data, fix those issues before they grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you both so much for all of that information. We've taken in a lot so far, so I hope it's been useful to everyone. I'm now going to hop over and, sorry, hopefully we can see. There we go. If there are any questions from anyone coming through,
Hi, I have a question.
please go ahead.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I found it really, really useful. And I had a question for Danielle, actually. The first part of the presentation, you went through some really good statistics. And I just wondered if you were able to help source where some of those stats came from. So if we wanted to have a look at them in a little bit more detail, then we can go and find them as well.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem, should it, Hannah? I think we've sourced a lot of them from the Home Care Association directly. I think a lot of the ones that are referred to.
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of our information on things like margins and things like average costs, which I think might be the ones that you're referring to, they've come from the Home Care Association's research that they do every year. And those are actually the numbers that we've baked into our pricing calculator. So that's something that we'll send afterwards. So it's an interactive tool. It's very simple. It's a spreadsheet. I'm not going to lie. It's not that sophisticated, but it does work. So basically it will use all of those numbers. You enter yours and then it will spit out basically whether you are above the average, below the average, whether that's all stacking up in order to give you a healthy margin with the price that you're thinking of. Hope that helps.
Thank
you. I have a question. I don't see the raise hand function. I thank you for a very insightful presentation. Really enjoyed it. But I've got a question with regards to your strategy with regards to small agencies that are getting into the industry. So obviously, I think I don't know whether it was one of you ladies spoke about under processes. You spoke about your application and what you offer, and it looks really amazing. The challenge that I have is that, and this I've raised, I think, in the care show with one of the ladies that was in your stand, is that if you don't implement a strategy to nurture the new startup home care agencies or home care businesses, we find it difficult to utilize your system from word go. So I did quite a lot of analysis on different, because I come from the tech industry, on different applications and software as a service. Obviously, sometimes you're comparing apples with oranges because everyone offers a little bit of this and less of that, and etc. But what I found is that yours is really pricey, and you might want to look at having a strategy such as what Google and Amazon Web Services does, where in that first year or first 1.5 year, you reduce the cost to all of the small businesses so that we get used to building our business on your platform. And then when we get to a level of a run rate where we are viable and profitable and we've scaled, you then raise the pricing accordingly. Because the strategy right now, which you seem to have, is that go and grow elsewhere, which we do. We go and use whatever is available out there at the cost that we can afford. And then when you are ready and grown, come to us because our brand is great, etc., etc. And that really doesn't work. I think you have to be willing to invest in nurturing the small businesses. So sessions like this are a value add to us, but so should your technology be that. And I'm willing to talk to someone offline on how I saw other people building that strategy. And because we've already got the capacity, and it's just a matter of putting us on, obviously with certain conditions, to learn your technology.
I'll jump in on this one. Thank you so much for your feedback, and no, more than happy to discuss the details of this offline, and perhaps we can have a chat. I think I'll just say, as a general rule here, as Birdie, we're very focused on home care as a whole, and that includes some of the biggest businesses in the country, which I'm sure some of those logos you'll all be very familiar with, but also those ones that are just starting out. And so that's why, we do have, let's say, a pricing model that's dependent on hours of care. So it's very scalable for when a business grows. That's one of the things that we do in order to try and make sure that this is something that is reflective of how much business that you're doing. The other thing that we do try and do to make it easier for smaller businesses is to make sure that support and training is really accessible to absolutely everyone. So as an example, Birdie Academy, which is our training and onboarding, is accessible to everyone, as is our support, which always gets back to you in 10 minutes or less, usually less than 5 minutes. The other thing that Birdie does a little bit differently, and this is something that's relatively new, is that everyone who comes onto Birdie is going to get a one-on-one call with an expert in our product every quarter to make sure that you're getting the most use out of the technology, can iron out any problems, get some more updates, and understand how you can best use it. That's not something that I think is normally available to absolutely everyone, but we think it's really important that you get that one-on-one time. So that's something that we've introduced as well. But thank you for your question. Are there any more questions through the chat? I think, let's just see.
I've had a couple questions come through. Did you want me to read them out?
Yes, please, if you could. Thank you.
Okay, so the first one is from Sarah. It says, do you know of any organisations, example DPS, used by the local authorities who give referrals for private customers besides the one you mentioned?
Danielle, I think this might be one for you.
Yeah, it's a really tough one because they're all so unique in the way that they operate and work, and I think you will have had that experience. Typically, I don't know, to be honest. I definitely think like working with teams like that, or asking the question directly to your local authority, whether that is something that they do, and how does that become available to you. And again, building them maybe as a referral partner for you and your services, I think is the best piece of advice. Like, I can't speak for all local authorities. They are so different depending on region and kind of where you are. So I think just explore it with them. Like, it wouldn't hurt just asking the question.
I'll add in one more question while we're looking at what else has come through. This is actually based on one of the questions that I've seen come up on our flock community, which we'll talk about more in just a second. But Danielle, one of the questions that came through was, if you're not yet CQC registered, are you in a position to be able to actually start building a private client base? And if so, what's the best way to try and do it?
If anything, not being CQC registered is easier with a private client base. Like, I like this term. It's called pre-care clients. It's what I like to think about. And it's those clients that typically would have unregulated services with you, which means you don't need to have your CQC registration. And they're those individuals or clients where their needs will increase over time with you whilst they have your services. So it means that actually that could become quite a small package, which would grow over time into a bigger, potentially more complex package. And I feel like when that happens, there's a really smooth transition into that more specialist or complex care, because so much trust has been fostered with that client from the get-go. So I think, don't forget about your companionship clients, and it's a really great way to kind of set up your services prior to your CQC registration. And quite a lot of companionships are private, so that's definitely an area to target. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Right. I think that is all the time that we have for questions. We will just move it to a close now, but thank you so much for everyone who asked questions. And if there are any more, very happy to answer some of those offline and later on. So before we go, just a few things to wrap up on. So our key takeaways from today, and there's been a lot. First of all, I think, as we've all understood from the beginning, is that private clients offer the kind of financial stability and control that just isn't an option with local authority packages. And so understanding the different expectations of those clients is really crucial for success. It's not enough just to be able to acquire these clients. You really have to make sure that you are positioning your business differently in order to meet those expectations. So in order to get that growth in the first place, yes, there is multi-channel marketing of all of the usual channels, from social media to leaflets to using PR and press, but referral partnerships are also a really important means for growth. So something worth investing in and really understanding your local community and marketplace. And as Olivia said, operational foundations have got to scale as you grow. So make sure that you don't wait until you grow to get those foundations in place. This is work that is worth doing now, and making sure that you are set up for success so that you're not overwhelmed when that success comes your way. And the last point of this is that data-driven decisions are really important. Data is not just for a compliance issue. It is something that is going to enable you to see your business better than you ever have before. And when you're looking at meeting incredibly high expectations, you're going to want to need to understand everything that's going on. Data is your key to being able to do that. So if you've enjoyed what we've talked about today, excuse me, and if you're interested in learning more, get the guide. So all of this was based on the Winning Private Clients Handbook, which we developed here at Birdie, talking to some of our partners who have been really successful in driving private client bases. So Christie's Care, as you can see there, is one of them. Wolfinch is another. They've really generously collaborated with us on this book to offer their advice and their insight on how to do it. So I would highly recommend giving that a read. And also, we would love to continue this conversation on Flock. Flock, if you've not heard of it before, is what we like to call a social network for social care. So we started this about a year ago, and it is an online space where anyone who works in social care can come to ask questions and get answers. So private clients is often a hot topic here, but also access events and access lots of content as well. We are, as of this month, over 2,500 people strong and growing every day. So we would absolutely love to see you there. So just head over to flock.care and sign up. It's free and it always will be. And last but not least, a very special offer for all of you who have been kind enough to join us today. So we have got 50% off your first 3 months should you decide to onboard with Birdie. You can use the code private50 at birdie.care. You just enter that code when you're prompted in signing up for a demo. And if you like what you see, then you'll get 50% off your first 3 months. And also, we've got another little special offer that I'm not going to unveil just yet, but you'll see it in our follow-up email. So stay tuned because you'll get all of this content and more in the next couple of days. So all of that is to say thank you so much for joining us today. We've really been overwhelmed by the amount of interest that has come through on this hot topic. So we really appreciate you joining us and sticking with us. We hope you found it useful. And that's it from us. We will see you next time. Thank you.